do this. Hi all and welcome back to the show, and this time we are going to be reviewing episode 2 of what I can say is now season 1 of Heated Rivalry. I don't think I did that at the start of the last season, did I? I didn't mention how this is actually technically now season 1 of Heated Rivalry. We are expected to get season 2, I believe, spring next year. Is that what he said when he was at Coca-Cola Coliseum at the Spectres Prime Night? Is that what he said? It's spring of 2027. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Yeah. So the last episode we did my thoughts on the first episode. We did a review about that, and this time we're going to do my thoughts and review on episode 2. Which is going to bring back some memories for me, because episode 2 was set during the 2014 Winter Olympics that were in Sochi. And I remember that very, very vividly. That was my second Olympics involved with the women's game. I was actually in graduation year in high school that year, so I can remember doing I was in the thick of coursework during the Olympics. So I remember having a lot of late nights, having to watch bits that I recorded to come back from school, and then basically start late to watch the highlight show that Claire Baldy would do from Sochi. So I remember that very, very well, and I do remember, being very uncomfortable with these games being in Sochi. Because this was 2014, and this was literally when Russia's attitude towards, the LGBT community, full stop, not just gays like me, it was when their attitude towards the LGBT community, full stop, really sort of changed, and it was like, you could just feel the, a turn for the worse, and so literally Russia just despises anyone like me, and so I remember, and I was only about 17 at the time. I was 17, so still quite a way off from my realization. Back then, it was kind of like it was there, but I didn't really knew it was actually there. You get what I mean? So that was really hard. So this episode actually brought up a lot of memories for me about those 2014 games and how hard it was, for a gay guy, whether you knew you were gay or not, to watch those. And it's interesting because it was a period where the games were starting to go more out into the east. She had Sochi do 2014, then Pyeongchang did 2018, and then we were going to Beijing in 2022. So it kind of like we're going back to more like eastern countries, and their views on my community, they're not really pleasant, they're not really nice. It's quite hard if you are to be in those countries. So this episode really brought back a lot of memories for me, not a lot of them good. And also the gold medal game, in Sochi, it still plays back on my mind. Oh, Marie-Philip Poulin, she got the game winner. And who'd have thought back then that 10 years later we still would be going Marie-Philip, but for clearly different reasons. But for clearly different reasons, because back then, the PHL didn't exist. There's no even sides of that even being a reality. And yet here we are now. She's in Montreal, I'm in Minnesota, and the rest is history. So there you go, my friends. There you go. But so throughout the review, you are going to hear me reference a bit of sort of my memories from Sochi as well. But I thought I'd just mention it now, just to get Yeah, so this is actually quite a hard episode to watch because it just brought back those memories. Let's get stuck into it. Okay, so just mind how we're going to do this review is we're going to start by giving you the plot summary of the episode, and then we will go into my overall thoughts and all the bullet points about that, okay? So here's your plot summary of episode 2, Olympians. This is the plot summary now. So season 1, episode 2 of Heated Rivalry, titled Olympians, follows hockey rivals Shane and Ilya over a multi-year period as they transition from a casual long-distance texting fling to deep physical and emotional intimacy. The episode covers their text-based flirting in 2011, culminating in consummating their relationship in 2013 and navigating tensions during the 2014 Sochi Winter Games. Okay, so that's the plot summary. Remind you before we get going, there are going to be spoilers ahead. We are going to talk about plot points that happened in the episode, so if you haven't watched the episode, please go and do that now, and then come back to us, okay? Seriously, cut the insanity out now. Do not watch us if you haven't already watched the episode. Please go watch the episode. It's a very hard episode to watch. Go watch that back, and then you can come to us, okay? So spoilers are going to be ahead. So if you haven't watched the episode, please do that now. If you don't mind that, then we'll be back. Alright there, so now let's get straight to it. I'm going to go for my thoughts now, so all the bullet points I took for the episode. So, straight away, the episode opens by showing how Shane and Ilya's relationship has developed, which shows to me there's a connection. There is definitely a connection. They're not just fuck buddies, because that was kind of the impression I got from the whole episode was like, is there something more here, or is it just, Mr. Labba Labba Labba? Is it just that? So there's clearly something there. There clearly is definitely something there. And I love the deep rivalry between the boys, I need to get this right now. The Raiders, and the Metros. The reason I need to get it right, because obviously in the book, the names of both teams are different than in the TV show. Interesting. My hockey husband, his team gets to still be the same in both adaptations. So, round of applause for Scott, everybody! But for Shane and Ilya, their team's names in the show are different to what they are in the books. We are going to do episodes of profile the teams. So when we do the episodes we're going to profile the Boston Montreal teams. We'll mention it there. Okay? We'll mention it there. Yeah, before better not trip up there. Better not trip up there. Better not trip up there. But I just love the deep rivalry we see between these two sides. As you see, Shane's mates, they just make it clear that they don't like Ilya, and I just feel that they come up as the jackasses. Just literally just nah. I just don't like Dre. And it's clear that these two, they are just mad about each other. And all the serial texting, but Shane's still, he's still stereotyping, being a closeted man who doesn't know what he wants, really. And yet, these two, they just still enjoy each other's company. As the clothes come off and the condoms go on! Yep. Straight away. Yep. Early up. Go. I don't. Do I actually love how these daddy scenes come early? That's not what I mean! That's not what I mean! That's not what I mean! I'm just like, do we need to have the scenes happen at these kinds happen early in the episode? Do you want to not make us, earn it, wait for it, that kind of thing, just, anyway, yeah. As they have pleasurable sex, but what really gets me turned on here is the music playing, which actually really helps the mood. But of course, obviously, they're not going to hear it, but I just felt, right, do we do this? Do we actually, in actual real life, do we actually, while we're getting down low, do we actually play music to help the mood? Because that, for me, is what actually got me turned on. It wasn't the two of them, doing it. It was about this like gentle music, like, ooh, it's cross legs time. It's cross legs time. That was what was turning me on. Was about this music playing in the background. I was like, oh, yeah, okay, yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. But let me tell you what I do know about the actual sex in this scene. Is how Shane, he does get a bit more confidence, essentially, which I can tell from Edie's orgasms. And afterwards, they're actually, making, jokes with one another. So it's like they're getting a bit more confident being around one another. So the Sochi Olympics then arise with both men making it onto their country's respective teams. And Shane's teammates just still behave like dickheads. As they start to suspect Edie is gay. Something that we all know Russia frowns upon. Like, seriously frowns upon. And I love to see how this affects Ilya, as he basically has to give Shane the cold shoulder. And it's very clear he doesn't really understand it. Okay, I think Shane does know that Russia knows it's like a gay no, but I don't think Shane properly understands how this affects Ilya, because basically Ilya's got to hide this for the duration of the games while he's in his home country, and then he gets back to North America to be what he was before. Right? So you see that sort of shift in Ilya's character change like a light switch very quickly, like a cold, hard, slowly. But I actually understand why he has to be like that, because obviously in Russia, you cannot be gay. You cannot be gay in Russia. Okay? So, yeah, and that scene just reminds me of how uncomfortable it was for us as viewers to have to watch these games, but at the same time, it must have been even 10 times more uncomfortable for the athletes who were there and had to go through that. Like I said, it was a very uncomfortable Winter Olympics, Sochi. It really was. It really was uncomfortable to watch. It really was, for all was concerned. So, as mentioned on the last episode, I said I wanted to see development with Ilya's family situation, and I felt we got that in a scene between him and his father, which really just amplifies the pressure that Ilya gets put under by what his family and also his country expects of him. And even being around his friends is hard, especially when he is given the opportunity to get reacquainted with Sasha, who was the guy that Ilya mentioned in the last episode. So the last episode, Ilya mentioned that he actually had done it with a guy before, called Sasha, and this was that guy. And he's trying to be like, oh, can we maybe get back to where we left off? And he's like, no. So you can just start even being around his friends is also hard. Also, that's love the first time. She's going to become a more problem later on. So you just see that how it really is affecting Ilya there. Which is, I feel, makes me feel more for him, connect more with him than with Shane. And then the pressure intensifies back home as Montreal has the opportunity to win the cup. As the Raiders face an intense talk from their coach beforehand. Now that literally Oh, that literally scared the shit out of me. Okay? I mean, you know, as fans, we don't get the opportunity to see what happens in the locker room. So during this mission, we've got no idea what Ken Klee is saying to our Frost players. Probably it's not as scary as that. Yeah, again, the Frost have over the last 3 years have been a really competitive team, so it's very had to do conversations like that. The Ottawa game we had in season 2 maybe, but yeah. But we as fans, we don't really get to see, you know, what goes on in the locker room. So on the one hand, it's kind of nice and kind of glad we do get to see, you know, a scene in the locker room, but at the same time thinking, that's just a little bit, ooh, I want to go home now. That is just a little bit too intense for my liking. That literally scared the shit out of me. So I can't imagine what that would have done for the players. Yeah, but oh god. So United was Montreal that had the opportunity to win the cup. So it's Boston. It should be Boston. I should point out, I obviously did take these notes during watching the episode, so I might have got a bit mixed up with which was which. No, but Montreal and Boston have opportunity to win the cup when they get back home and count their seasons, but obviously it's Boston that gets to hoist it. Because they're the ones that they get to play San Francisco, and that's when we have the whole angry moment in the locker room from the coach. But it works because the Boston Raiders do end up beating San Francisco. Not that we get to see the celebrations or even either hoisting the cup. I feel like I'm not sure how well these hockey scenes are working for me. I just don't know how they're working. Because I think it would have been nice if we could see Ian's reaction, you know, to hoist the cup. Maybe see some else for the actual championship game. I just feel into episode 8, I'm not sure how these hockey scenes are translating on the script. On the screen. I really don't. Yeah, anyway. Yeah, so that's not going to make things any more intense. I don't know what will. I really don't. So things then get frosty between the two, most evidently when they're having to hand out an award together. So yeah, that's good. Then things come to a blow while Shane tries to essentially take control. We all know it's Ilya who clearly calls the shots in the bedroom. So I kind of like Shane. So I did kind of like with Shane trying to be the one who's sexual, and I'm like, yeah, nice try, mate. You're the bottom. He is the top. And then things get even more steamy. Shane's the one who lost the bet. Oh, these two basically have a bet where basically whoever loses, you're bottom for the night. You've got to do what I say. So Shane's lost the bet. He basically has to do whatever Ilya says. That starts with Shane, you know, touching himself. And eventually they take things further. Now, two things I love about this scene are, number one, Ilya kind of enjoying every single second of it. That was number one. And number two was Shane finally wanting Ilya without fear of getting caught. So it's kind of, you know, there's a steamy thing I love about it, and there's an emotional thing I love about it. That's good, because we need that balance. Okay? We need that balance, because so far these two, it's just been all Mr. Labba, Labba, Labba. Okay? We need a bit of emotion as well. We can't just have full-on steamy passion sex all the time. It has to be a balance between the physical and the emotional side. So yeah. Things take a turn though when Shane tries to ask Ilya about life back home, which causes him to basically shut down, and Shane leaves being dejected, and that's also when the episode ends. That's also end of my notes. So that, for me, also kind of felt a bit of a, you know, like I said in the first episode, that to me also felt a bit of a abrupt ending. Like I said, episodes 3 and 5 are typically the only episodes where I felt the ending is not abrupt. They're the only episodes where I feel the credits roll, I'm not thinking, oh, was that it? Right. But yeah, so I really loved how we got to see an episode dedicated to Olympics. Even though we didn't really see any Olympic action, I really love how they focused on the main hard-hitting point, which was how we're in Russia, and we have here 3 gay guys, because I'm going to include Scott here, okay? Even though we didn't see my hockey husband in this episode, even though we didn't see him in all his glory, even though we didn't see him, technically, you had 3 gay guys in Sochi. 1 for Russia, which was Ilya, 1 for Canada, which was Shane, and 1 for America, which was Scott. Okay? So you had 3 gay guys in Russia. That alone should send the alarm bells ringing. Okay? As we all know, you cannot be gay in Russia. So I really loved how they focused on that, and they showed how much big of an impact it had on Ilya. I would have loved to have seen how it impacted all 3 of them, but this is only about, I think, about 42, 43 minutes, so we didn't have that much time to spare, okay? So try to get that balance right. But I really loved how, because we can all tell why Ilya has to basically give Shane the cold shoulder, but Shane's not really getting it. He basically thinks it's just Ilya basically blowing him hot and cold. Okay? So we, the audience, get it, and we understand it, but Shane doesn't. You know? But I really thought it's so important we have those scenes, and it just empathises why. Because chances are, there's a lot of you who watching this, who you're teens. You're probably too young when Sochi happened. That was 12 years ago now, actually. That was 12 years ago. That was 2014. I, of course, as I mentioned, I was in graduation of high school, so I remember it very, very well. In fact, too well. That's because I remember how uncomfortable I was watching it, because we're in Sochi, we're in a country that had no love for me and my kind. It was just so uncomfortable to watch. And that was only my second games being involved with the women's scene. Okay? Because I've said plenty of times before, my involvement with women's hockey began with the Olympics. Vancouver, 2010. That was my first Olympics, you know, being involved with the women's game. And of course, before the PHL began 3 years ago, the Olympics was the only way I could see women's hockey. It was literally once every 4 years, and that'd be it. And then we go straight back to the NHL with the Sharks. That was how it was for the 2010s. So I had to really, that cycle, I had to really just shut up and put up, because you only get to see this once every 4 years, and then once it's done. So yeah, that was not nice. That was not a nice thing to go through. So I really love how we do not shy away from the heavy stuff there, because there's a lot of people who don't really understand how in some countries it's not okay to be gay. Now that's wrong. That is wrong. But unfortunately, it's the way it works. So I felt it was really important that we don't have scenes in Sochi at the Winter Games. It'll be like nicey, happy ties, happy days and all that. No, because for some athletes, it wasn't happy in Sochi. It wasn't. So I thought it was really important that we see those scenes, even if Shane doesn't properly understand why he is behaving the way that he is. So I thought they were really, really powerful and emotional scenes there, and really important. But at the same time, They bring back some very painful memories. I'm gonna say it. Just, yeah, it was not easy. Not easy to watch. It really wasn't. It really was not easy to watch those scenes at all. It really wasn't. Yeah. So, honestly, guys, I'm getting choked up now. Having to think back on it. Like I said, I don't look back on Sochi as fondly. Not just because, you know, Team USA had the opportunity to end Canada's goal streak and we basically blew it. We blew it. And of course that allowed Captain Clutch Marie-Philip Poulin to get the goal on goal. As she does, as she always does. And of course, there's one thing I've learned in the PHL for the last 3 years is if you go to overtime against Montreal, don't let Captain Clutch get the puck. Because Poulin just finds a way to do it in overtime, she really does. Whether it's getting the game-winning goal or assisting on the game-winning goal, she finds a way to do it in overtime, she really does. So don't give her the puck in overtime. That's a little piece of advice for the expansion teams coming in next year. Do not let MPP get the puck in overtime, because she'll just score a big lights out and you'll go with 1 point instead of 2. Yeah, it's not just that, also the fact that you just had to bring those back, those painful memories for me, and remind me why it's so hard to watch. But yeah. So good episode. So yeah, so there you go. So that is my thoughts and review on episode 2 of Heated Rivalry's first season. Our next one. My app! I'm gonna say it now! The next episode, my app! So, yeah, my app, next one. So, we're looking forward to that. But, until next time, thank you for joining me, and that's